When Belousov was appointed as the head of the Russian Ministry of Defense instead of Shougu, he said famous phrase «ошибаться можно, врать нельзя», which means mistakes are allowed, but lying is not. Lots of Z bloggers rejoiced. They thought that it was a dawn of the new era when Russian army will stop lying. Of course, they were wrong. Lies is a lubrication without which Russian military machine obviously can't function. To illustrate how it really works in the Russian army, I would like to present to your attention the series of posts from the very well-known that blogger Fgihterbomber, who writes about Russian aviation. So, he posted a photo of a Russian glide bomb with the following text written on it. Dear Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, I am FAB with UMPC. Well, I'm a glide bomb. Soon I will try to eliminate the occupiers in the Kursk region, meaning it will be thrown on head of some Ukrainian troops. I feel sorry for my crew. They have not received the additional combat operation pay for CTO since August. Please look into this. So I think this needs some explanation. When they fly missions in Ukraine, so Russian flight crew are considered the part of special military operation and they are eligible for additional combat pay. But in Kursk region, it is not part of the special military operation and they are not eligible. But in Kursk, there is so-called counter-terrorist operation, CTO, like here. And there is also should be a combat bonus for CTO, but they don't receive it and they are upset since August, because in Kursk, Ukrainian army came in Kursk in August. So since Kursk, they have not received any additional combat pay and they are upset. So please look into this. And then this phrase from they wrote this Belousov phrase, mistakes are allowed, but lying is not. Okay, and now it can be considered as a mockery, actually, from my point of view. So, and then the Fgihterbomber, he wrote beneath this photo that comrade superiors, the weapon of victory, meaning this bomb, is reaching out to you with a humble request. I hope it reaches the intended recipient. And then he reported the initial reaction to his post. Following the ammunition's informal report to higher command, nothing unusual happened. So, meaning that everything that happened was quite usual. They immediately started wondering if Ukrainians has photoshopped the bomb to discredit it, in inverted commas. Explanation. There is quite harsh penalties in Russia for any negative information about Russian army. Such information is considered to be untrue, and its aim considered to be to discredit Russian army. And for this crime of discreditation, you can spend quite a lot of years in jail. So what he's saying is that Ukrainians were trying to Photoshop this text on top of this bomb, so it can be tried for attempt to discredit Russian army. It's that kind of humor, I think. Yeah. So they reported to each other that everything was in order, all payments were being made in full, and there were no complaints, never have been, and never will be. They began looking for who is this insolent Fgihterbomber could be, meaning they were looking for him and as a poster of this picture, and demanded from him urgently identify the units where this supposedly happened, according to the bombs. Then they actually started looking if there really were places without payments. It turned out that almost everywhere there were no payments at all. Naturally, they started coming down on everyone who had received nothing, looking for the source of the complaint. So they were not looking for why they were not paid, they were looking for the source of the complaint. Well, nothing new here. The bomb is doomed. They won't forgive this. It was a suicidal move on its part. as it puts so many respectable people in a bad light. Clearly, it is working for the Ukrainians. But they did promise to look into it. Let's wait and see. And they indeed looked into it, and the result you can see in his next post. Today, unfortunately, it is not about Laos. It is about the daily grind of our airspace forces. When the Russian mill bloggers, dead bloggers, when they are saying about Laos, they are actually saying about Russian army. But because of this discreditation clauses in the criminal code, they try to avoid being punished for exposing something bad in Russian army, saying that they are not writing about Russian army, they are writing about the army of Laos, and this is quite weak, and I don't know why they are doing this. If some superiors decide that they should be tried for discreditation of Russian army, this, fig leaf with army of Laos, it will not work. I don't know why they bother with it, but still they are doing it. But right now he's saying that no, it's not about Laos, it's not about army of Laos, it's about the daily grind of our airspace forces, and he says how the investigation of it actually went. So after the bomb could no longer bear it, and clearly hinted that certain headquarters and commanders lack complete information about what's going on in the units under their command, that they are unaware of the needs and concerns of their troops, and are engaged in the usual deceit and misleading of their direct commanders by reporting everything is fine, no problems, those higher commanders finally started investigating. And now, for the third day, tempers are flaring in the ranks, preparations for combat flights have come to a halt, as everyone is busy writing explanations, and which is the good news. They're busy with something else than bombing our Ukrainian cities. Since, as we know, the people at the top are not fools, these very not fools identified the bomb in the photo as FAB 3000, meaning the 3,000 kilogram bomb, with a glide kit, which they promptly reported to their superiors. This bomb is used by only one well-known unit, which immediately underwent an epic reprimand lasting about 8 hours. I mean, I quite heavily, soften down the language here, because actually in Russian it is they were effed for 8 hours, during which the unit with tears in their eyes pleaded with not fools at the top to open their eyes and ask someone who might actually be able to tell them that the bomb in the photo was a common of up to 150, so a common 250 kilogram bomb, not a specialized 3,000 kilogram bomb with glide kit, now used by everyone across the board. By some miracle, they managed to get this point across just after a day. Yeah, it's quite funny. From there, it was just a matter of procedure. Unable to find the actual culprits, traditionally, culprits were promptly appointed. So, meaning that the culprits were not people who were not paying their troops, but the people who complained about it. So that was the aim on investigation, not to find those who are not doing what they are supposed to do, but those who are reporting it. The culprits became the crew who had no connection to the message on the bomb, which they documented with written explanations. But since investigators should have presented the culprit long time ago, they disregarded these details. The crew was suspended from flights, from combat operation, which is a good thing, I think, and in a few days will be presented before the highest authority. I don't know who he is talking about when he speaks about highest authority. Meanwhile, sources are hinted that missed payments have already been found in 2 air armies, not counting the infantry who weren't even mentioned in the investigation. And that, aside from the bombers, assault pilots also haven't been receiving their bonuses, because there is a bomb aviation who are dropping bombs, glide bombs in this case, and also those who are from attack aircraft like Su-25, who are, who are using, for example, not the glide bombs, but some kind of other munitions. But missed payments are another story. It's more likely that the investigators will face consequences themselves than resolve the payment issue. Thus, to ensure that personnel in the airspace forces and maybe the whole army finally receives their rightful pay, the bomber crew has been sacrificed. I hope then there are quite a lot of bullshit. I would like to summarize what is going on here. Let's be clear what it is all about. When these murderers bomb Sumy or villages in Sumy region which are in Ukraine, they receive additional pay. When they bomb their own Russian compatriots in Kursk region of Russia, they don't. And they are upset. All this grandstanding about fulfilling their duties, combat missions, so on, it's just a smokescreen to mask that the murderers are not satisfied with their pay. And also, very telling the reaction of Russian command, they are not trying to find and punish underlings that lied to them. They are trying to find and shut up those who exposed these lies. That's why Russian army is unreformable, and this is a good news for us, for Ukraine. Hope you found this video interesting. I will try to present more information from more videos with the information from the other side, from Russians, how they see this war, because it is sometimes it is quite useful to have an insight of the mind and of your enemy, I think, and to see how they are seeing it from their side. Okay, so if you find this interesting, please subscribe, like, and do all the rest of these things. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.